So, what are you doing all this for? At some point, you start to build wealth. And the reason that any individual would want to build wealth is unique to each and every one of them. And this may be something that's really kind of hard to see at the point you're at. When you're still early on and building up your financial portfolio or getting out of financial trouble that you're in, you're still really grinding in the day to day, and it's hard to see like, hey, at some point I still got to build wealth. But it's something that you want to keep in the back of your mind when you're in that stage. For those of you who are beyond that, like, hey, I've got some extra money coming in, I got to start thinking about what I'm going to do with this. I really want to talk a little bit first about the difference between what increasing your income is, as in the last video, versus building wealth. And it's a subtle distinction, but very important. See, when you're increasing your income, you're just trying to make more money, and that's kind of in any way possible. You're really focusing on more than just your basic needs of what you are needing to pay the bills. This is what requires you to use more time, typically, to be able to make more money. But when you shift to building wealth, you're making your money make money for you. And that's the investment side of it. This requires money to make money as opposed to increase your income where you're using time. So that's the main distinction on the difference between increasing your income and building wealth. And when you start to really dive into it, there are so many different ways to build wealth. Same with increasing your income, but probably even more so on building wealth. And picking the path that you want to do this with becomes even a little more important. So I got a couple questions here for you that maybe they'll help to make this a little more clear for your unique situation. So first, what is it that you want the wealth to do for you? Maybe you're like Bill Gates and you have some big, hairy, audacious goal that you want to end malaria. And that's a noble thing. And hats off to you. Let's go do it. So you're going to probably need a large amount of money to do something like that, unless you come up with some very inventive way of doing that. But likely to do it in the Bill Gates fashion, you're going to need a lot of money. So that would require a lot of wealth. That's a high level of wealth. Or maybe it's not something quite to that extent. Maybe you're wanting to leave a legacy for your family, something to pass on after you depart from this world. And that's not quite to the extent of having Bill Gates amount of money, but to have something appreciable to pass on to your family, you may need a decent amount of money. Or maybe you're not even that level. Maybe you're just simply wanting to become financially independent. And that's perfectly okay. That's a great goal. So what level of wealth is it that you want to have? And then second, what methods fit my preferred life and the values that I have with that? There's exciting ways to do that, there's acceptable ways to do that, and there's unacceptable ways to do that. So each one of those, whether it's exciting, acceptable, unacceptable, really kind of come down to what's the time involved with the wealth to get to the goal that I want, and how aligned is it with my values. If it's something that excites you, it's probably going to be pretty quick in the time to get you there and really aligned with your values. Or maybe it does take a little longer, but it's super aligned with my values. I get really pumped up about this method. But if it's something that's just, it's kind of acceptable, it gets me there in a decent amount of time. I don't really care about the values on it. But it'll work. It'll get me there eventually. But if you're seeing something like, this is going to take forever, I'm not actually going to be able to meet what it is that I want to do, it doesn't align with my values, my preferred life says I really want to go in this direction, but this would require that I go in this other direction, that's an unacceptable way of investing to build wealth. So keep those in the back of your mind when you're looking at those different ways to build wealth. Hope this helps. If you haven't already, hit like, hit subscribe, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks.